stay? Why did she stay? Why did Osinachi stay? Why did Bimbo stay? Barbara Sommer, the Ghanaian lady who died, whose pastor husband took her life. Why did she stay? Why did you watch me? Why are you still there? Why did you stay? April, why did you stay? Cora, why did you stay? Thank God you left. But why do we even get blamed after we leave? Why did you stay? Why did you stay? Yeah. Why did she not stay? Blessing CEO asks, why do you stay? Why do you pick them? Victoria asks, why not stay? Why don't they stay? Take a look and Eppa will come back.
Why do you keep choosing animals? Why do you love bad boys? Why do you keep choosing these men you say you don't like? These men you say maltreat you. Why do you marry them? And you are crying. Why are you crying? Have you ever seen me coming to cry about relationship? Blessing, it's not fair. Why will you be insulting the dead? You're not even considering Bimbo. Why do you keep choosing them? You are angry that I said something. What about you that is in the situation? Don't you deserve to slap? See how bitter many of you are just because I made a statement. Imagine you that is in that situation. We are supposed to be flogging you 2 by 2 on your head. That's the thing. You people like women, you like pity party. And that's the reason why it's always you that is the victim. Most of you used to die. Why do you keep choosing these bad men? Why? Is it blessing that chose them for you?
Of the death of this lady, Bimbola. But it's so sad how people have become so cold and insensitive. You cannot understand the situation unless you have been in that situation. So it may be a little bit safe just to pray and watch and just pray. Unless you've dealt with a narcissistic person, you would understand that it is not easy to leave certain relationships. And that even when you leave, the roots and branches that you have to keep cutting and cutting and cutting. Not the children. Children is very far from it. But a lot of mental attachments, trauma bonding. Over the years, this person has made you, so dependent on him or her. Because it's not just about men now, ladies too. A lot of men are also being destroyed by marriages or relationships that have been so toxic and abusive, but they don't talk about it. But unfortunately, in this case, people are just so insensitive. Listen, I've been speaking about domestic violence for how many years? It's not easy to live. Has a narcissistic person begged you? They don't kneel down, beg you, cry. Man, go they cry, tell you, say, look, if you leave me, I will die. And because you're a good person, you come from a good home, you're a decent person, you were well raised, you have compassion. They feed off your niceness, they feed off your goodness. Let me tell you something. At the end of the day, you see the love that Bimbola had for her husband, that was genuine love. That was love from nothing. She was even the one bringing. Nothing. That is the genuine love. Over time, money came in. Yes, and when money comes into a relationship, that is when you really, really know who is who. But she still stayed and she still continued. She left her family and believed in this love. And it became toxic. And it became toxic because she got to a stage where she needed to start fighting back. And she started fighting back. Unfortunately, she died fighting back, defending what.
You had the opportunity to listen to both sides. I want you to get this fact about domestic violence. 1 in 4 women are exposed to domestic violence situation, severe domestic violence situation in the United States daily by their intimate partners, their boyfriends or their spouses. Data also shows that 7 million children are living in a severely violent domestic violence situation in their homes in the United States. And also, we have nearly 500 women who are being sexually assaulted or being abused in some form by their intimate partners, boyfriends or husbands daily in the United States. What does that tell you? If this data is so much huge in the United States, where things get reported somewhat, even though the system is not perfect, even though the system is not for you, what do you think about places like Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, whereby these instances are underreported, underbelieved due to cultural reasons, due to religious reasons, religious gaslighting, religious brainwashing, cultural grooming, psychological manipulation, and other things? Statistics also shows us that it takes at least 7 attempts, I believe, don't quote me on that, but I believe 7 attempts for a victim to try and leave a domestic violence situation. Actually, it's a fact. I just double-checked the facts. It does take a woman 7 attempts to finally get to leave. They try, they are not successful. They try, they are not successful. If you watch a video that Derek and what's the name did, Ruth did, Live Less Scripted did, she spoke about domestic violence whereby Derek was pranking her, and she went off the rule like, well, never again, don't ever do that again. And that's how women must do. That video has so much lessons in it. That's what women must do in order to be to not entertain that. When it happens once, you don't take it, you don't tolerate it, you don't enable it, you don't make excuses for it. And Ruth also specified in that video that one of her friends, that a group of them in a group of women are helping currently in making sure that she does not return back to the abuser. Because each time she tries, she goes back. Each time she tries, she goes back. But this time, they are providing her support and needed resources so she does not return to this violent situation. Why do you think this is necessary? Because statistics says that without these supports, these victims does return. And when they finally return, why? What happens? We saw what happened to Cora Obidi. That's been 8 months and it's still ongoing. And the victim get blamed. The victim get gaslighted. The victim, the perpetrator gets a bunch of flying monkeys that comes to their aid, families, society, everybody, to support them and enable their behavior against the victim. And one thing I want you to know is that we have 7 stages that involves in this cycle of domestic violence. This phenomenon is called trauma bond. Trauma bond is when you are with a partner who abuses you, gaslights you, makes you feel like you are nothing, but it makes you question and doubt your reality, your trauma, makes you feel like you are the problem in the situation, abuses you to the point where you lose it yourself to them. They play mind games on you, and then you feel the need to stay with them because what? You feel sorry for them. They had a rough childhood. You're making excuses for them. Or they have mental illness. So you rather tend and find the need to stay with them because of these excuses. That if it's not their childhood trauma, if it's not this, if it's not that, this wouldn't probably be happening, and you tend to stay. So that is trauma bond. How does it start? It has 7 stages. It starts with love bombing. When they abuse you, they gaslight you, you are broken, you are crying, you have injuries, you have scars in your face, you have the red eye, you have the blue eyes. Then they turn around and love bomb you and tell you, you are the one that, you are the only one that can fix me. I love you so much. You know, I don't have anywhere to go. I'm going to get it right with you. I love you. You are my world. You are. So they start love bombing you. So whether you have a childhood that is healthy, love bombing is beautiful. Everybody likes to be loved. Whether you have a crisis childhood where you never experienced love, love bombing is awesome, because guess what? All you ever want in your life is to find love. Find somebody that accepts you for who you are. So when they start love bombing you, either you have a healthy childhood or not, it feels great, it feels awesome, and it causes you to want to stay and stay and stay. Then they ride on to the next phase. So we're talking about the 7 phases of love bombing. I don't want to make this video long, but we can talk about the 7 phases of love of trauma bond in the next video. But I want you to understand, this is just to answer those questions, those 2 sides. What Blessing CEO said, why do you stay? And what Victoria said, it is actually not easy to leave. And research told us that, and I just verified it with you. 7 times a victim of domestic violence or intimate partner violence attempts to leave a severe or a domestic violence situation, an intimate partner violence situation. But does their attempts work? No, it doesn't. It takes 7 efforts for them to leave. So if you find yourself with no support system, nobody like in the scenario I described with Ruth and Derek's friend, you tend to stay, you tend to keep going back because of the love bombing phase, because of the honeymoon phase. We know that love bombing to be honeymoon phase for a very long time in mental health or in a history of health, and in the history of domestic violence situation. So in the next video, I'm going to talk about the 7 phases of trauma bonding. Consider staying here on EppaWorldwide and EppaWorldwide Psychoeducation pages and get more awareness on domestic violence, systemic injustice, family life matters, mental health, and parental alienation, which also involves family, which is typical of some family life issues and domestic violence and all these things that children get exposed to, parents get each other exposed to. So why do people stay? They stay again because they are not informed. They don't know what to do. They don't have the support from family, friends, and society. Cultural reasons, religious reasons. Some of these things are why people stay. Would you be kind enough to not judge a person that builds, it took them a lot to come out and say, I am going through domestic violence or I'm being abused? The victim blaming is so serious. Understand that when somebody goes through domestic violence situation, they can end up using drugs because they turn out to hate themselves, not love themselves enough, because they lose themselves. I told you my own story. You sometimes lose yourself, you lose your self-esteem, your self-confidence because of the denigration, the campaign for denigration that happens in parental alienation. It does happen also with you and your partner because they alienate you from friends and family. And if you are the type like me who has been isolated, I talk a lot about isolation. You don't have your own friends, you only have friends that your husband have or your wife have during the course of the relationship or the marriage. You turn out to be alone, with nobody for you to stand out for you, to speak up for you, or to provide support, both moral, physical, emotional, and psychological support. But thank God to social media, we have these platforms that are talking now. Mine, EppaWorldwide Psychoeducation. We are one of them. Consider following me. Consider becoming part of my followers and my subscribers, both on Facebook and on YouTube. And also support us in any way you can, so we can continue raising this awareness that we bring to you free of charge. You need to get information. You need to learn about these situations. You need to learn about how to escape. You need to learn about how to seek help. You need to learn that if you stay in it, like Bimbo, she has left at least 4 or 5 children behind with no mother, but traumatized from domestic intimate partner violence. And I want you to meet me live on Facebook.